Yeah, I forgot to mention that people not only watch Super Bowl for the game, but I know people like the commercials and tune in just for that. Funny how commercials can really leave an imprint in our consciousness and our memory. We know them quite well. If I told you about Papa John's, I said better ingredients, better pizza. There you go, right? This one we all know. We know it in our sleep. Morgan. Yeah, right. You gotta give the guy credit. We know that better than we know our prayers at church. Anyway, and how about this one? A little more challenging. After 911, pain, right? That's it, yeah. After 911, call 411, pain. It's a good question. After 911, who would you call? Who would you call? You have anyone? Is there only Morgan & Morgan that has your back? Good Lord? Well, guess what? He's not coming. It's nice. I understand that, but ask yourself that question. If I was who would I call? Some say family, right? Good for you. And maybe some would say, yeah, no problem, Father Tom. My spouse, I got my kids around, I got some wonderful neighbors, I got my golf buddies, the people I play bridge with. No, I'm fine. I got people, and I'm glad and I'm happy for you. Because a growing problem in our country, in our nation, is this: loneliness. You see, there are a lot of people who, after 911, would have no one to call. Nobody. And that's a problem. And loneliness is growing. I don't know what it is. Maybe just the way our society is. Maybe because we have so many things convenient. We think, I can take care of myself. As long as I got my big flat screen TV, I got my internet, I got connection there. I really don't need anybody. I'm comfortable right here. And besides, right? People are a problem. You can't depend on them. They know you. They can let you down. I'm tired of it. I'll just take care of myself. And maybe I even have that attitude. And that's a problem as well. And plus, we're a very mobile society. Probably very few of us were really born here in DeLand or born in Florida. So we came from someplace else. You said, maybe you do have children, but man, they live up north. They live someplace else. I'm not really connected to my children. Many of us have divorced and there was separation from that. Or in a career, we change jobs, 6 or 7 times, they say? So there's all these things taking place. Maybe even more remarkable now that even when we are with people, right? You go to restaurants. First I thought it was little kids playing their Game Boy at table. It's no longer that. It's everybody. I see people at table sitting across from each other and they're on their phone. And they're just nothing. It's in there, whatever they're doing. I remember this pastor said he went on a trip with one of his co-workers at his church. And they're at the gate waiting for their plane, sitting there, outside the gate. He said right beside his co-worker, next thing he knows, his co-worker texts him. He says, what the heck are you doing? I'm right here. Why don't you talk to me? He said, well, this is easier. Yeah. So being disconnected. Even with young people, kids, right? What is one of the danger signs we worry about kids? You know what it is? When they're loners. If they have no one. We get nervous. If there's people in your class who don't talk to anyone, have no friends. That's scary. And that's where problems arise. When they have nobody. And that's why we always hope when someone new comes into the group that you will notice that someone new and you would immediately welcome them. Because being a loner, being loneliness, is damaging. It's damaging. Not just socially, psychologically, but physically. University of Stanford did a study of terminal cancer patients who gone through a medical treatment but were in a weekly support group. And they compared that to those who had cancer but went for medical treatment but were not in a support group. Those in the support group lived twice as long as those who were not in a group. That's significant. Lived twice as long. Then the Boston Globe had a story that says that those who may be in great physical health, physically in good health, but have no friends, sort of social isolation, are twice as likely to die prematurely as those who have friends. So not having friends, having contacts, is just as bad for your health as smoking. You see, even the Bible tells us right from the beginning, book of Genesis, it is not right for man to be alone. Right from the beginning. And look at Jesus. Though by temperament he probably was an introvert, but he's always with people. All the big things in his life, there's always people, and there's always a lot of people. He's born where? Bethlehem is packed. So he has to go to the stable. He's still with people. The shepherds find him. He's baptized where? The River Jordan. There's a huge amount of people at his baptism. His first miracle, where is it at? It's at the wedding. Filled with people at a wedding. Today's gospel, the presentation, he's at the temple. There's always people in the church coming and going. He's never by himself. Why? Even his death. There's people around even at his death. And Jesus has a need for people in his life, so he has 12 apostles. And it's not merely so someone will keep the work going on when he's gone. But he too has a need for friends, to be known and to know others. And not only that, from these 12, he has a close friendship, right? With Peter, James, and John. He has close friends. We see that with Mary Magdalene. He has friends. It's not right for us to be alone. And I share that with you because coming in Lent, we're encouraging, really asking to join these, what we call small groups. It's just for 6 weeks. Small groups we get together with 6, 7, 8 people. And sure to talk about things about our faith, all right? Things about our faith. You're not going to reveal your life, and I know you hear this, oh God, sharing faith, not this touchy-feeling stuff, oh God, right? We get no, leave me alone. I understand that, but please, it's not that. It's how you grow in your faith is when you talk and you share with others. You learn about their faith, it's this interchange. And it's really not that, too overwhelming, okay, not that prying. For example, in a small group, maybe from this gospel, there's something you may share in the small group. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's 2 dynamics going on in this gospel. One, the law. They said they took Jesus to the temple but according to the law of Moses, following the law of the Lord. Say that, the rules and regulations, all right? And besides the law, we have the Simeon Anna, filled with the Holy Spirit, led by... So we have the Spirit and the law. The 2 ways really of spirituality. So I wonder what you share with your neighbor right now, with your neighbor. Say, what are you more, in your spirituality, in your faith, are you more comfortable? Are you more of like a law person, rule, regulation? I said, no, you know what? I'm more spirit. I really sort of be guided by the Spirit. Which what it is. Just share with your neighbor, that's not that long. Just kind of share with your neighbor, your friend right there. Right, turn your left to your right, behind, whatever you got to do. Just kind of, what are you? Are you more law, rule, regulation, or are you a spirit? I know what you are. You told me this. In fact, your daughters were the same thing, by the way. They came to the Mass. They said the same thing. You are a rules and regulations. Are you rules or the Spirit? What are you, kind of, it's like you're probably thinking, what the heck is he talking about, right? Yeah. Okay, what the heck is... So what are you, Jerry?
Spirit.
You're spirit, okay. Spirit, okay. How many said, you know what? I'm law and order. Raise your hand. You think you're a law and order type? That's how I do my spirit, law and order. Hands out. Who said, no, I'm really more of the Spirit? Raise your hand. Spirit. Wow, we got spirit people here. Okay, great, great, great. So then we go a little further with that. I'm in your group and said, guys, I have a dilemma. I need your help. We're sharing our faith and, I'm a law person. I like to follow rules and regulations. First, make sure you know this. You may be aware of this rule, but the church asks us to wait, not to eat an hour before we receive communion. Do you know that? Do you know that first? You look a little bewildered. You look surprised. Yeah. You didn't know that? Well, welcome to church, yes. All right. Glad you're here tonight. But I think you're over 60. You look like you're over 65, are you? Yeah, anyway, so I think it may not apply to you. But anyway, can't eat or drink other than water or mess. Okay, for an hour before. All right. So here's my dilemma. I'm trying to eat healthier now. Every morning, I eat oatmeal. Right? It's good for you, oatmeal, good for my cholesterol. And the other side is this, I'm cheap. All right? I'm cheap. I get my meals free at the hospital. So I eat at the hospital. I don't like spending money, right? So my refrigerator is sort of bare. I'm kind of proud of that, right? I'm trying to think, how little can I have in that refrigerator? Like, look at that. There's nothing in there. And it works usually well for me. Weekdays, go down, have oatmeal, come back. But Sundays can be a little tricky now. Particularly if I have the 7:30 and the 9 o'clock Mass. Breakfast is served there from 7 to 9. And I can't get there before, 7, I got the 7:30 Mass. So now I try to get there after the 7:30 Mass. So I race over there and I gobble down the oatmeal, right? But what happens? Oh my God, it's not 60 minutes. It's 55 minutes. Uh-oh. So I want you to know among yourselves, you suggest, now I want you to talk among yourselves, should he or should he not eat if it's 5 minutes off? Though he didn't intend that, what would you do? Discuss it. You don't even know the rules. You have no voice in this, young lady. Don't you start telling me. You don't even follow anything. Huh? Okay, share with you. So just share with your neighbor. What would you do? Yeah. Does he eat? Does he? All right. Hey, there's a little... Okay, some of you are curious now. How many said, 60 minutes is 60 minutes? I don't care if it's 58, 57. No eating, no manja, no come. Who says you're not eating? Raise your hand. There, law and order, right? There it is. It's 60 minutes. Okay. Keep your hands raised. Who are those? Well, they're tough. Law and order, right? Wow. Okay, that's way of doing it, right? And how many said, go ahead and eat? Wow, hands down. Okay, hands down. Good, hands down. So what I'm just saying is this. Just a question. Get it to go? I have Mass afterwards, but that's there's not many options. That's good. We should be in my small group, but there are other options. Like one woman says, you don't need to eat. You're right, you don't. But anyway, I'm just giving an example of when we have a faith sharing. It may seem sort of silly, but what you're learning about yourself, what I learned about myself is this: wow, I never knew I was that regimented. I never knew I was that adherent to rules. Or I said, man, I didn't know I was that liberal or lenient or spirit-led. And then people share why, and they say, really? That's interesting how to look at that. See, that's what faith sharing does. And actually, it seems simple, but you learn about your faith. Quickly, what if I thought I could make it, and then I looked up, and then it wasn't. It was still, never mind that, skip it. You guys will forget it. I'm not eating, I understand. Thank you. But anyway, so that's what faith sharing is. So I'm going to ask you now, we're beginning next week, and we're going to ask you to sign up for a group. So again, that could be frightening. Oh boy, the unknown, because what did Jesus say? Where 2 or 3 people are gathered, there's bound to be problems, right? Exactly. It's true, right? Where 2 or 3 people come together, there's bound to be problems. But he's there, though. He'll be there, though. But there's going to be problems. People are people. But we learn on the rough edges. And if you're already with a group of people, by the way, wait a minute, I have my friends. We play golf. Well, how about that group? And say, hey, guys, how about this time? Instead of talking about politics or football or the weather, can we do in the next 6 weeks sharing of faith? What I have prepared is a DVD. It's called the ABCs of Prayer. Because I want all of us really to improve our prayer life, right? Because when we pray more, I think we're better Christians. So this Lent, we're going to focus on prayer. And I'll be preaching on prayer during Lent. I said, well, good. When I'm preaching, it would be great during those weeks we also have this DVD on prayer. All right? So I encourage you to take that leap of faith and say, and it's only for 6 weeks, by the way. It's just 6 weeks. Once a week, maybe for an hour, hour and a half. Really not that difficult, and this is what you could do for Lent. I think it's better than giving up cake or cookie, is coming here together. Sam Rayburn, many years ago, was the Speaker of the House. In fact, I think he was the longest-running Speaker of the House. Unfortunately, he contracted cancer, terminal cancer. He had to step down, and he told his colleagues that he was going to move back to his home, Bonham, Texas, some small little, sort of a hick town in Texas. And his colleagues said, what? Why do you want to go back there? Stay here in Washington, D.C. We have excellent hospitals. We have one of the best doctors. You get great medical care. Why do you want to go back to that small little hick town? He said, I want to go back to Bonham, Texas, because there, he said, people know if you're sick. People care if you die. We need community. And that's the truth. We need community. We need each other. So I'm asking you really to take that step of faith and to sign up and give yourself 6 weeks. Improve your prayer life and improve your relationship here to those here in church. Because, joining a small group is a lot like Papa John pizza. It's better ingredients. It's a better pizza. God bless you.